this high, grass.
Okay, we're going to begin our regular meeting.
Pharmacy.
The notice requirements provided in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new schedule of meetings to the Spotswood Borough Council on December 30th, 2016. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and the Sentinel. It was filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Salute to the flag in a moment of silence, please.
For more victims, right? Shootings.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Stolen?
Here.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Rivera? I guess he's here.
Sorry.
Council President Ritchie?
Here.
I know he's here.
Mayor Steele?
Here.
Okay, we don't have any minutes today. We have ordinance on second reading, the public hearing. The ordinance 2017-03M was posted in municipal building on May 23rd and advertised by summary in the Home News Tribune on May 25th. Public hearing was set for June 7, 2017. Bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of a sewer trailer jetter, appropriating $85,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $80,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs therefore, authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
Make a motion, we open this to the public.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie?
Yes. At this time, if anybody would like to come forward and have a discussion about this particular ordinance.
Cheryl Bass, 289 Main Street. What is a sewer trailer jetter? Could we have a little description of what this is?
Dawn?
It clears blockages in sewer lines, like what, a lot of times when there's tree roots or if people put stuff down the sewer system that's not supposed to be there, it clears everything.
Roto-Rooter.
Essentially.
I take walks here in Spotswood, and so many times people from their barbecues, from their outdoor gardening, from just bringing packages and stuff into their house, stuff gets into the street. I see it blocking the drains, and they don't clean it up, you know, and a lot of it is from their driveways, and it blocks the sewers. It blocks the rainwater going in.
Well, this piece of equipment is actually for sanitary sewer. You're talking about storm sewers.
Okay. So what is the difference?
Sanitary sewer is essentially, for lack of better words, what you put down your toilet.
Oh, okay.
What goes out your drain from your sink.
Okay, can people get like a notice from the township when they move in that, you know, don't put things down the toilet, don't flush things down the toilet, it blocks the sewage? You know, when they go to the real estate people to buy a house, a lot of people have been flushing things down the toilet. I had an argument with the management people at my condo. I said, what they flush down the toilet, a whole chicken, you know? So I had a problem, because, you know, if one toilet at a condo gets backed up, the whole condo system gets backed up. So maybe, you know, when they rent, when they buy a house, you know, a little pamphlet could be included from the real estate people that...
This isn't for the home's lateral that comes out of the house. This is for the pipes in the street. And if it gets if it's going to get stuck anywhere from something from the toilet,
Yeah.
usually will get stuck in the homeowner's pipes.
Right.
Once
Our
it gets
pipes are
out to
much
the
bigger.
street, ours are much larger.
That chicken will keep on going.
That chicken will keep on going.
If it gets through, it's going to keep going.
Yeah, if they're gonna put a chicken down their toilet, then they're gonna have to pay the plumber to
Oh.
come and clear the chicken.
Unfortunately, Cheryl, what you're saying
Yeah,
is a lot of common sense,
yeah.
Right.
but can't regulate the common sense.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't know. They just, do things the way they want to do it.
But
And
for the most part,
that's-
whatever you manage to flush in your house is not going to really interfere with this.
Oh, okay.
This is more, the branches are coming through the pipes,
Right.
that type of thing.
Right.
Because you're talking about a 2-inch pipe that's flowing into 6, 8-inch, 10-inch pipes.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a major issue coming from home.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Now I understand much better. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anything on you, Mike, so far?
What's that? Just on this particular ordinance, Frank. The one that we just spoke about
Just this one?
with the sewer jetter. No more?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes. I make a motion that we move the ordinance be adopted on second and final reading, be published according to law.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes.
We have another ordinance on second reading. Ordinance 2017-04M was posted in the municipal building on May 23rd and advertised by summary in a Home News Tribune on May 25th. Public hearing was set for June 7, 2017. Bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of various general capital equipment appropriating $305,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $289,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs thereof, authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Make a motion, we open this to the public.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yep.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes. This time, if anyone would like to come forward.
On this bond ordinance, 2017-04, it says under Section 3, the improvements, the equipment including but not limited to lawn mowers, sanitation truck, trailer-mounted vacuum excavator, $289,000 sounds like a lot of money for lawn mowers, sanitation truck, trailer-mounted vacuum excavator. I could imagine that they are expensive items, but it seems like $289,000 is a lot of money for the...
Part of it is for a garbage truck.
Right, and that's,
Expensive.
that's
That's serious
expensive.
coin.
Oh,
A lot
okay.
of money.
That's 210,000 approximately of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the garbage truck is the big chunk of this.
Oh, well, okay.
Frank, did you have a question around here?
Mike?
Frank Addition, 41 Kane Avenue, Spotswood. Got a question. Why do you all have microphones in front of you?
He's right.
So everyone can hear us.
Simple question. I need a simple answer.
So everyone can hear us clearly and we can be recorded.
How about the audience?
The podium.
I mean, you get microphones. It would be nice if you spoke in there so we can hear you out there.
You can't hear us out there when we're talking from up here?
No? Some of you are not speaking in the microphones. And that's why you have them. I mean, I got a hearing problem, but which is not related to this. but, and that's my own personal problem. But sometimes, I see all these mics and people back here speaking to them. That's the purpose of these. Unless,
Honestly, I thought they were sensitive to pick it up from the
Good
distance.
point, Frank.
just a suggestion.
Thank you.
In regard to this ordinance 2017, I heard some of the purchases we're making on those capital projects. Was that listed someplace? I didn't see it.
Here, let me give you my copy. I might have picked
It's in section 3 of the thing here, Frank. Section 3.
A little separate sheet.
Yeah, here, Frank.
It's the bond
Yeah,
ordinance.
this is what I was referring to, section 3, not limited to 1%.
Now, the purchase of this additional capital equipment, is this, my question is, why are we buying this? Is this because we don't have enough equipment? Or we're replacing it because they're obsolete and not working properly? I mean, there's usually a pretty good reason why capital. I'd like to know why.
One of the garbage trucks needs to be replaced.
I'm sorry?
Speak.
One of the garbage trucks needs to be replaced.
Okay, that's one.
And then other equipment that's needed by Public Works and throughout the town.
Okay.
Dawn could probably give you a better accounting of exactly what equipment needs to be replaced.
There really is just a replacement for depletion and obsolescence that we have.
The trailer-mounted excavator is to lift the storm drains off the catch basins so that the Public Works employees can clean them better and safer.
We don't have one?
No, we do not. That is something new. The sanitation truck and the lawnmower are replacements for existing that have gotten old.
Thank you. I heard some of that.
Oh, I
Thank
tried
you.
to lean over.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Does anyone else have any comments on this ordinance?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes. I make a motion the ordinance be adopted on its second and final reading and be published according to law.
Second?
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes.
We have resolutions under the consent agenda. Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda, resolutions 2017-92 through 2017-99.
I make a motion to adopt those resolutions under the consent agenda, 2017 through 92 through 2017-99.
Second it.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie.
Yes. Okay, at this time, comments from the council? John?
Yeah, I went to Friday night, the senior prom at the Memorial School. Great, great, great. Them students are great over there. Let me tell you something. Them kids there, 13, 14 years old, they're whips. Smart, presentable, terrific vocabulary out of this world. They come to every table and ask the seniors over there, can I help you out? What do you like to have? This or that or this and that. It was a great time, as far as the music. The food was great. We had a lot of fun there. I danced with all the kids. I danced with all of them. It was very nice. And Board of Education people showed up, a few of them. Marino and, what's his name, Peabody came. Even Donna Falkenberg, she showed, she was there. And it was very, very nice, really. I tell you right now. It was a decent crowd, too. It could be better next year. I hope it is. It was around like close to 50 people, I would say. But it was really nice. I got to say that. And last night was Board of Education meeting. Wow. They gave out all kinds of awards over there. Jesus, I mean, them kids are smart. this town is really up, and they really got smart students here. Got to say it. They must have given out a host of them. The teachers are great. I met Joe Vaz, a nice guy. It's a small world. I know his background. I know where the guy came from. The people he knows, I know him very well, and we talked a lot. And it was real nice. Real nice. It was really good. Got to say that. So, and I understand that Peabody's going to take over at the end of the next meeting or so? Somewhere in that area, yeah, July, okay. And Vaza's going to stay there till that'll be his last one, I assume. So I think it's at the 20th, I think it is, yeah. The meeting's the 20th, I believe. It's the 20th. I think it's the 20th, it is, yes. It's a Tuesday, and very good. So it was a very good 2 nights there. The senior prom and the last night the Board of Education. It was real nice. So that's it, Mr. President. That's all I got.
Thank you. Kurt?
Well, I'm sure everyone has something to say about the parade. Luckily, it was a rainy morning, but the clouds parted just as it was about to start. I want to thank Mayor Ed Seeley asking me to walk the route with him. I had never done that before. I've experienced the parade from the curb. I've experienced it from the bandstand there, but not walking it. And one of the things that you realize when you do that is how much work and unsung hero Ed Seeley is. The amount of effort that goes into organizing that parade, getting the money to pay for it, and to set up the bands and the floats. He's been doing that for years. I don't know if anybody realizes how much work it is, but being at the organizational point and seeing what has to come together, Ed did a great job. You've done it for years. I know we keep hearing it's your last time, but thank you for all you did. It was a wonderful thing to experience the walk, to see how excited everybody is at the beginning to be part of it and join in the honoring our veterans. So very, very nice. Something else I wanted to mention, I handed out to people on a dais here. We had some discussion about Volete and Main and DeVoe, the intersection, how dangerous it is coming out of Volete. And back in already 1980, I worked with Bruce Koch, Mayor Tom Barlow, and myself. We worked with the county to try to work on some improvements to that area. A lot of it wouldn't make a lot of difference. Two of the things that we thought was making 2 lanes going down Manalapan in front of Immaculate, so that you would have 2 lanes coming up, one to make a left into Volete, and one to go straight or right down to DeVoe. But one thing I was looking at is if there's something we can do at Volete, that's something that maybe we can tackle. I went out and measured curb to curb, and I came up with 37.5 feet. Bruce, I don't know, what is a lane considered? Is it 10 foot per lane?
Well, it depends. It could be 10, 12. Turning radiuses are involved, and also the alignment of the oncoming traffic. So the width is not the only design factor.
Mm-hmm. I know the turning radius would have to be wider, but what you have there, a lot of times myself and other people, when they're coming out of Volete, they'll hug the yellow line. If you hug the yellow line, you almost have, actually you do have enough room for a car to go by on your right. So they can go straight down DeVoe, and you can make a left onto Main Street. There's another picture on the other side, and you can see that while DeVoe has 3 lanes of traffic in the same, just about the same width as Volete has, and you see the car, you can see that the lane is much wider than the car takes. So I'm wondering if maybe Bruce, myself, and Ed, if we can go out there at some point, look at it, see if it's possible to just do some type of restriping. I know we can't move the curb at the Memorial Triangle because right at the stop bar there's an inlet, which would be very expensive to move. But we may have to, as you see in this drawing, there's a little bit of change in the curbing at the back end of the triangle. Maybe there's something we could do that we could improve this by, because it really is a horrendous situation. And anything we can do that would be a minimal expense might help a lot.
Well, we turned down the county grant to realign Main Street several years ago because it had a match of about 400,000 or so.
Oh, I think it was more like $1 million, plus land acquisition.
And we couldn't get on board with the St. Peter's Cemetery, giving up some, to really correct that intersection. Drastic changes have to be made to realign all of those lanes. So, it would depend on cost.
Well, as I say, I think if we do some restriping and maybe moving a small amount of curb, if that's possible. But I think if Bruce and Ed and I can go out there, see what it looks like at some evening,
That's good.
check it out. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. March?
Last Wednesday, I went to a Women's Democratic function in Jamesburg at the invitation of Daria Ludis, Jamesburg Councilwoman. I met the mayor of Jamesburg, but Freeholder Director Ron Rios was presenting to the group. And I had an opportunity to ask him some questions and just have a good conversation. I did thank him for having county resources come out to Spotswood and help, line Crescent and Snow Hill and Heffron. I think it's just fabulous, and I've heard nothing but kudos back from the public about getting that paving done. And I brought up the lake, and, he did say, the dredging was out of the realm of that, and I didn't ask him for that, but he brought that up. But I said, there's other things that we can do around the lake that, that would be under the open space funding, and they do get a dedicated millions every year they put aside for open space funding. So, I think we just need to continue to ask the county for those resources that are given to the county by our taxpayers, because a lot of the other towns in this county get a lot of funding for a lot of projects, and I don't think we've gotten a lot recently. So I'd like to, see if we can request some funding for some projects around the lake there, and maybe move forward with the funding we have already, if we can, to make those improvements that we were talking about. A pathway, I think. I do know we got some grant money for that. I think that's just been sitting for a little bit. But get a plan together that we can present to ask for grant funding from the state, from the county. So Ron was very open to that. He has talked about all of the improvements that are happening across the county. They ended veteran homelessness in the county. They went to Washington last fall and got an award from Michelle Obama, which is a wonderful thing. And I also want to echo what Kurt said about Memorial Day. It's always a wonderful event. It starts off in the cemeteries, and it's a very moving ceremony that they hold at the 7 or 8 stops. And then we come into town and do the first aid memorial, the fire memorial, the police memorial, and the veterans memorial. So it's a 4-hour pilgrimage, really, to pay honor to those veterans that protect us and protected us and continue to protect us and give us the lifestyle that we all enjoy in America. So I would encourage anyone who is around on Memorial Day to join us. They do have buses leaving from the Legion and VFW that leave at 6:30, and they do transport you to all of the cemeteries, and they have the honor guard, and they play taps, and it's just it's a wonderful thing. So thank you, Ed, for facilitating that. And I was also in the bandstand watching you guys walk the route, and really Ed was very gracious. When they canceled the Jamesburg parade, he notified them that any of those units were welcome to come up to Spotswood Parade and participate. I don't think any took advantage, did they, Ed?
I think the Girl Scout troop did.
The Girl Scout troop, great. But what a nice thing to do, and the mayor from Jamesburg thanked me for that. So it's nice to be a good neighbor. So that's all from me.
Thanks, Marge. Jose?
I'm going to be talking about King Street again. Apparently, this is being brought up again about right by Shonley. Okay, I know this has been going on for several years. So if we could get the police department to do a study and see if we could do that one way from 7 to 9 and then 2 to 3:30, or make it one way completely. That little portion from Mady to Adirondack. Because eventually somebody's going to get into an accident. So I would like to see if they could do a study and see if we could make that into a one-way street.
I'll talk to the chief.
All right, thank you. Also, Ed, thank you for putting the memorial parade together. Did a good job.
Thanks for being in it.
And that's all for what I have.
Thanks, Jose.
Bye.
As everybody else up here has already said, Mayor did a hell of a job with getting the parade organized. Thank you. This is your last year until next year, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Next year will be
That
your
was
last
well
year until
said.
the following year, I'm sure, again. So thanks for everything you did out there. And that'll be it.
That's it for you?
That's it for me.
Okay, I want to make sure, can you hear me, Frank? Well, Memorial Day Parade has been kind of run out. I will say this, I'm not the only person who does all of it. I have a lot of help, a lot of volunteers who help do the things during the day. Dawn was there. Marge always joins us for the funeral services. The fire department always offers to cleans up our lot and gets it ready. So there's plenty of volunteers involved, and I'm grateful to each and every one of them, as well as our contributors. And I don't really like announcing dollar amounts, so I won't, but I will just say that we have some very generous contributors, as well as we have citizens like Frank Cardasian, Ed Smith. They contribute to the parade as well. Every little bit helps because it does cost a fortune for bands, which me and Kurt had talked about, which are not very large bands, but parade without a band ain't really a parade. And as I've said a million times, it never rains on Ed's parade. It might rain in the morning, but it ain't raining on my parade. But this year we had something a little special too, if I might. There is a rosin statue in front of the American Legion right now of a Sergeant Michael Ollis. He was killed in action in 2014. He is the brother of Kim Losciavo. I hope I said her name right because she'll probably watch this. And it's a very moving story. The father and mother, his father and mother were there as well to tell everybody who wanted to that day at the parade what had happened, you know, who he saved. Amongst his own troops, a gentleman in the Polish army who wound up getting discharged from the service because he lost a limb, I believe. When he went home, he named one of his children after Sergeant Michael Ollis. He received the Silver Star and is currently being recommended for the Congressional Medal of Honor. And that's really what it's about. I get a little choked up on that stuff. I also attended a strawberry festival in Helmetta. I know that's not us, but going back to community relations and being a good neighbor. Figured I went over there in the morning in the rain. Very nice event, an awful lot of vendors and some really good strawberries. I mean, I had a cheesecake stuffed strawberry that was outrageous. After that, I ran over to Clearwater for their annual picnic. Spent about 2 hours with them. It was good to see a lot of people there. I saw you there. And after that, I shot down to Woodstock, which is the car show, and I believe Good to Go, right? Good to Go was the band. Our rec department did a very good job. That was turned out to be a very nice day, very cool, very sunny, so it was easy to walk around and look at cars and listen to music. Let me see, is there anything else?
And they had a good attendance. They said about 80-something cars came.
Yeah, 80-some cars, and there were some really high-end cars. So if you're a car enthusiast, you really should go. I'm working on getting a hold of Linda Grinstein again. I called her before Memorial Day. We haven't hooked up yet. As far as going back to Marge's talking about requesting funding for the lake, I actually want to pursue and get a number on looking at hydro raking. Me and the business administrator have looked into this. It's a cheaper form. It isn't quite as detailed as dredging, but our permit does cover it, and it would be like from the shorelines, mostly.
Great.
So you get rid of all of that foliage, which makes our fishing derby a virtual nightmare, as well as we got a couple fishermen in the audience who would like to be able to get in there without trudging through the forest. And I believe that was like $9,000 to the study.
About that.
So I would like to look into that. And if we can, I myself have talked to the county as well previously about other projects with the lake as far as not dredging, because of course they won't touch that. But they are kind of interested in the boardwalk idea, the solar lighting. So if we can get the hydro raking done, maybe we can get them to move on that. So I will pursue that.
Great.
And like Councilman Rivera, I also visit the EMS building a lot. I haven't in the range yet, but I do visit it a lot. Because I like to see how progress is going. And for the most part, it's going well, very well. And who knows, maybe done early. Who knows? And that's it for me. I'm done.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open to the public?
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the open public portion of the meeting. You can come up and speak about anything you'd like. Who's first?
I'll go with shortest straw today. Jackie Palmer, Shupin Street. Thank you, Kurt, for going out and looking at Fleet Street. I will not let my permitted driver even turn left at that corner for fear of killing both of us and slamming on his brakes. Is there any way that the light pattern can change? Like, I mean, I drive to St. Joe's most times, right? So there's that traffic light in Edison that's on the corner of like Plainfield Avenue
27 and
27, right? So it
Three
goes
sides red,
each
one side
side,
green.
right?
Well, actually, I was just speaking with Ed Seeley the other night, and he had mentioned that.
Because I also, like you, have traveled Edison, and I said, it's probably the one thing we haven't tried. And if you time it to where you give Main Street and DeVoe just a little longer than Valete, because there's less traffic on Valete, of course, and it could work out a lot better, I think. And, there could be other advantages to it as well.
There is
That
a
would
sensor
work
on
really
that
well
traffic
if we
light.
did the 2 lanes all the way back to Immaculate. Then it would really work well with that type of a timing on it.
Yeah. There is a sensor because sometimes in the morning I miss it. Like the traffic's coming at me when I'm turning to go to the bus stop. So the traffic's coming from DeVoe, turning both ways, obviously. They're not coming straight. They're turning
you're not
onto
clicking the
me.
sensor.
Yeah, and then I get there and I have the red and then it quickly changes to green so that I can get through. But, and then to Jose's point about Kane Avenue, I don't know if it needs to be the one way, but it definitely needs to be like Valete Street with no parking on one side of the road and probably the side of the school. So no parking on that side because you can fit. The problem is that they park on both sides of the road. And when you're trying to get through, the cars that are parked facing you, right, they drop off, you're pulling in front of the school and dropping off. When they try to pull at you, it gridlocks because you got cars parked on both sides and now you have 2 cars that are facing each other. And I've been stuck in that gridlock a few times this year. So I wonder even if it's just no parking like we have on Valete on the one side of the road during those school hours.
You
Might
do
alleviate
have
that.
on one side that says no parking during school. You do have that. What happens is when you got cars coming from Mady going on to Kane, going towards Adirondack, you got cars coming down Adirondack, and you got cars that are parked on the opposite side. So now you still creating a...
There is no parking from the end of the school to Adirondack on the school side. So people park on both sides, and that's where the backup is, I think. So if we didn't have parking on that one side, even those people who are parked on the opposite side of the school could pull out, and you keep the flow of traffic moving against the curb all the way up to Adirondack. Not that I am at all. I just drive it a couple times a week when I do a drop-off, and I hate it. And the poor little girl that sits in the car, I try not to curse while I'm getting through that corner, but it's bad. It's bad even though, and it may even have to go as far back as on the other side of Mady on Keene. Because even parking on those sides, you still can't get through. So the traffic comes from Burlington, right? I come from Burlington, you sit and wait your turn with a very nice crossing guard who, God bless her, directs traffic very well to get people in and out of there. But when it backs up, when there's a gridlock, there's nothing you can do with the buses and all that. I got an email also regarding the townwide yard sale. I saw that the donations are going to the Spotswood Police Department Special Events Fund. Can somebody tell me what that is?
I know I can't.
That funds programs such as the Junior Police Academy. It supplements Alliance activities, Neighborhood Watch, any type of, like everything they did with Trent Powers.
Dawn, can you
It helped.
speak into the mic?
I'm sorry, I forget that this
Thank
one's
you.
broken. Do you want me to start over?
I heard you. Maybe Frank wants you to start over.
Want me to repeat it?
Can you hear her?
Okay, so all the extra things that the police department does for the community.
So have we always had that account?
Yes.
Has it always been called that account?
I don't know what it was called before I got here. I believe they instituted it in 2013 when I got here.
And is it a trust account? Who has like control over that?
It's a trust account, the chief of police and the CFO.
Okay, so can any other department in town have a trust account like that?
It depends on if it's approved by the state. The state has rules and regulations on it. It's called dedication by rider, so they have to provide approval.
So what about like the EMS department?
No, they probably would not be able to have a dedication by rider.
Why not?
Because that's rules of the state. I don't know the exact reason why. I'm sure I could look into it for you, but I don't believe it would be possible for EMS.
I'm just curious because if the police department can have that, they're an emergency services organization. Some police departments run EMS departments. So what difference would that make?
Well, a dedication by rider means you're putting aside funds for a specific purpose. If EMS wanted to do like a community outreach program, we could ask the state and see if that would be permissible. Like you said, it is similar to what the police do, but for their general needs, I don't think it would be possible.
So this fund is different from anything that they budget for.
Yes,
So it's fully funded by donations?
yes.
And it's different than anything that the donations that come in for the Drug Alliance?
No, the Drug Alliance has their own trust fund.
So any of those programs that they do jointly, they pull money from both?
Yes, some of them.
Okay,
Some of them are funded by the Alliance grant.
okay. Could you look into, can you please email me that, the regulations around how you get that type of,
It's on the
Trust
state
account.
website. I could send you the link.
that
if
would
you
be
like.
fantastic. The other question I had was, and I know you know this is coming, because I'm pretty sure you just mentioned it before. I am extremely happy that Kim is getting a raise. I think that it's well-deserved. I think that she should get it. My question is that this was brought up at last meeting very quickly about Kim and her job, yet here we sit with an entire department full of people who have been promised that they're going to have their job, and for now over a month on the EMS department, we have been kind of saying, oh yeah, you'll probably get a raise. Oh yeah, we have to wait. Oh yeah, we have to look at the finances. I realize she's one person, but I'm concerned about the morale of the department. How do you, it just came up last meeting and already it's done. And these guys are waiting.
The money for Kim's adjustment was in the budget already. We didn't have to pull from anywhere. There was 2 accounts that together generated enough money to do this through the end of the year. My understanding is that even trying to move EMS $1 up would create a hole in our budget because there's no money there to carry all of them through the end of the year.
What
At this
happens?
point, we have to look at January.
What happens to the money that's not spent within the EMS budget at the end of the year?
That's a question for Dawn.
Goes into surplus. after the following year.
So from 2014, when there was a $155,000 surplus, and then 2015, when there was a $99,000 surplus in the EMS budget, and then in 2016, where there was a $65,000 surplus in the budget, all got moved to surplus. And we're suggesting that historically they have underrun their budget, and we can't find it to give it to them now?
This is what our CFO is telling us, that there is not enough money in there to do this now. I would love to be able to bring them up to what we've discussed in all of the meetings.
I hope that they spend their $422,000 this year, every dollar of it, because that's what the taxpayers are paying for. And that's what the $300,000 should offset, right? I don't understand why we are surplusing so much money historically that we're saying $422,000 can't pull this off. I think you're doing a disservice to that department.
So as the EMS liaison, I guess I wasn't aware that this determination was made. Nobody discussed it with me. Last we left it, Mayor Sealy was going to talk to the CFO, and I was not communicated with, so.
To be clear, a determination has not been made.
Oh, okay. It
be
sounded
clear.
like it was.
All we did was look into the numbers right now. There's been no discussion that it's not going to happen at this time.
Okay.
We start to sit down with the union itself as well. We're moving along. There's no, we're not going to do something. And it's not a matter of stalling them. And I do sit down and talk to Dave and let him know what's going on, because we don't want no confusion. We don't want nobody getting panicky or jumping ship, because we got a good crew right now. We need to keep them. But we are working on it. But unfortunately, in the red tape world, it's a nightmare. It really is.
So I saw on the bill list also that we purchased that ambulance for them. I think I've asked this before. Did we have insurance money to replace an ambulance? Is that still tied up in litigation, the insurance funds, or have they been paid out?
It was paid out, and at that point, there was no indication of what direction we were going in EMS, and it would have had to have been spent by the end of the fiscal year. So that money also went into surplus.
So that insurance money cannot be held longer than a fiscal year?
Actually, we have to deposit funds within 48 hours. And if it's not going to a specific expense within that budget year, it has to go into surplus.
And that goes for all insurance funds that we collect?
Yes. For example, if we have a municipal vehicle in a car accident and it has damage, we get an insurance check for repairs and parts. If we're going to fix it immediately, we can put that money into the budget account and spend it before the end of the year. If it's not going to be spent, it has to go into surplus.
How about our flood insurance monies that we got that historically we've been told have been sitting in a trust account?
Any flood insurance money has gone into the bond, or it's on the balance sheet in the grant reserve.
So that you can hold?
Yes.
But the insurance money for an ambulance cannot be held?
No.
And so it went put into surplus this year, and then...
Not this year.
Well, when did you get it? When did we get the insurance
2015.
money? Well, that's
You're
interesting.
talking about the ambulance that was in the accident?
Yes.
2015.
That's interesting, because I specifically asked that question not long ago, less than a year ago, and was told that that insurance money was not paid out because of litigation.
No.
Actually, I'll go back in the minutes. Actually, because I can't go back in the minutes now because they don't explain it, but I'll go back in the videotape and find it for the next meeting, and then we can have that discussion. Because I am almost positive that I asked about that insurance money, and I was told that that was held up in litigation,
I
and
believe
that
when you
insurance
asked
money
me, I
was not
gave you
sent
the
out.
specific dollar amount on the record.
I'm pretty sure that I asked if we got that money, and I was told that it was being held in litigation.
You have your opinion, I have mine.
Okay, well, we'll watch the video and find out.
Good.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be quick. Cheryl Bass. I just want to say about the municipal clerk's office, I'm glad that everything is up to date, so to say, in the municipal clerk's office, and I have always said to Pat DiStefano, because it's always one week out of the year that we give a proclamation for the municipal clerk, and I say Pat always deserves a full month. So I'm glad that the municipal clerk's office is all taken care of. And I just want to ask on the click it or ticket amount. There's a grant that comes in, and the high school always shows the students with the, with your seat belts and take care of that. How has the new drivers from the high school, what is their record of safety on the roads? Because each year we usually get this grant, and the high school lets the students know you're going to be driving, and what is the record of safety? Have the students been good drivers over the course of time?
There's no record kept of that. The click it or ticket is basically a grant fund that enforces people wearing their seatbelts when they're driving. The cops run an overtime patrol. They'll sit on a corner someplace and watch cars go by. No seatbelt, you get yanked, you get written.
Right.
That's all it is. If any of that's going towards the high school, and I'm not sure if it is or not, there's no record of that kept.
Okay.
If these kids aren't wearing their seatbelts, they're getting a ticket during click it or ticket.
Why I said the high school is because so many times a wrecked car is put,
That's more towards prom season and things like that. They want to do that to just beat it into their heads.
Exactly.
Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Go have a party, but don't do anything stupid.
Right.
That's why the overturned car is there. That's why they do that whole macabre scene about taking away the person.
Right.
It's not really, it has nothing to do with click it or ticket.
Oh.
That's more towards, getting the kids to focus. They'll let them drive the golf cart with the beer goggles on.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen that before, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I did that in South River, and I put those things on. I probably ate half the cones.
Yeah.
Because as much as you think you're going straight, you're not.
Yeah.
And but that has nothing to do with click it or ticket.
Oh, okay, because I think that those programs are very good for the first-time drivers, the high school
Well, I'm
students.
sure the high school is, stressing that with them also, but again, that has nothing to do with the police department.
Yes. And with the paving on Crescent Avenue, a man had come in and said that he had plans because the drain in front of his house, was he satisfied with the paving on Crescent Avenue? Because I don't see him here.
Well,
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
That should be the key right there.
That's a good sign.
Yes, so he is.
Not here.
So I think he is satisfied. And then the thought came to me after the Verizon man left, these poles that he wants to put in, they really should not be put on the roads which get the heavy trucks. So many trucks are running into poles and breaking them down that when they do the figuring geographically where they should put these poles, they have to keep it out of areas that would lend themselves to trucks running into the poles. And another problem, if the height of the pole is higher, if it fell down, it would do extensive damage. So you have to look around the area you want to put it in and make sure that you have a good, that you're putting it in really solid, that it will not come down.
You've got a very good point there, Bruce.
Yeah.
They guy wire those poles in so that, I mean, right now you take out a pole on Main Street at 35, you snap it in half 8 feet up. But the thing still stays there because all the wires are holding it up. What holds these things up if somebody pops one?
I don't think anything does. Many poles, see, something like that doesn't have the loads on it, like the wires, which pull it in one direction or another. Guy wires often counter the weight of the wires where it crosses at a 90 or does something like that.
But Cheryl's got a good point. What happens if somebody hits this thing and 50-foot pole falls across the road?
The amount of pole that is buried in the ground is technically what prevents the overturning. From a structural standpoint, the pole might be 60 feet tall, maybe 10 of it's in the ground, and the rest is in the air.
It looks smaller too, Ted. It's
So it should take a hit and not come apart.
Unless it breaks. If
Well, that's what I'm
somebody hits
saying.
it hard enough where the pole snaps,
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, she's got a good point there, because, the rest of the poles out there wouldn't come down on somebody,
not
for the
as
most
quickly.
part.
That
How
is
deep you
correct.
go.
Until they take all the wires out.
Wood.
Okay.
That
a good
is it. Thank you.
Speaking about 18-wheelers, my husband mentioned that he saw an 18-wheeler turning off of Crescent onto Old Stage. So I was going to call Tom Labasi but I think we have to be, with the new improved roads, maybe we can do some surveillance of truck usage of those newly paved roads so they don't get beat up by the big trucks.
They are allowed to be there if they have a delivery.
Yeah.
An 18-wheeler, though, would have no delivery on that road.
Actually,
Beer truck, maybe.
Crescent Park gets deliveries.
Coming from the parade.
18-wheelers go there?
Yeah, I've seen them there. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Either. I don't know how they get in the driveway.
I don't know. I've seen them pick up.
I drove.
They're pretty good drivers.
Yeah.
The other issue about Shonley parking, I know we did a traffic study there when I first came on the council, Ed, probably 8-10 years ago. Should we do another one, or should we revisit the one we
The study
had?
we're looking for now is a little different. I mean, now there's two parts to it, either one way between certain hours, one way altogether, or no parking on the school side all the way to Adirondack to part of Kane, the other side of Kane.
But I know, yeah, so we have a parking study, so I don't know. I think the council at the
If we do, we
time,
can bring it out.
yeah,
The times change. There's more
Yeah.
people in town, there's more kids in town, probably school registration's up.
You got school buses.
and preschool, we have preschool
Used to be
program.
split sessions, now it's full-time, so everybody comes at the same time and leaves at the same time.
Yeah.
Can't hurt to do a study.
You got all these buses and everything.
The other thing I would ask is that we do some kind of timeline for the EMS, just so we, like, let's say by 2 months, we should have some answers on some things, a general timeline, not anything rigorous, but so that we can show that we are moving forward.
Contract negotiations.
As I said, we do sit down with Dave, Dawn does on a regular basis, to let him know exactly where we are.
Okay, and we will too. We're going to start those, if it's okay with you, to start implementing that advisory board meetings with Dave. Okay,
I need to go home.
thanks.
Are there any other comments from the public? Carolyn, were you going to come up?
Those two ladies, I don't know if they want to. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay.
Noreen Carolyn Genty, 307 Rangetree Court, Helmetta. I am a crossing guard up at Shonley currently because our regular is out ill. But I do go up there every morning between, say, 8:15 and 8:45 to open doors for the kids. And I can tell you from experience, it would be great if you could make it one way, 7 to 9, 2 to 4, because you do have, the preschool gets out a little earlier than the regular students, and they all come in about the same time. But if you could get them all to go all in one direction and not park on that one side, that would be wonderful. And another thing to consider is Mady comes down to Kane. There's no stop sign there. And I understand it's 25 miles an hour, but the residents don't. So you have times where they'll be coming down and the crossing guard will be in the crosswalk directing traffic, but they don't have a stop sign, so they'll disregard her and they'll come around the traffic and they'll come between the cars, or they'll just drive right through.
That's not a four-way stop?
No, it is not
Are
a
you
four-way
kidding me?
stop. And it is quite, it's It can be quite harrowing, especially get a rainy morning or a snowy morning, add the snow on top of it then. But if you could even, because there is a yellow line that goes from, I guess it's like 20 feet in, maybe a little more, before the school there, all the way around the bend to where the park, where the driveway is for the teachers to go in. That's all yellow, not to park there.
It's just a drop-off zone?
It's just a drop-off zone for the kids between, I think it's basically like 8 to 8:45. But if you could make that a longer time, that would be really good.
Good.
I mean, because they do tell the parents at the beginning of the year, and most of them go, ugh, again. You know, my suggestion is I think we should have the little kids that we taught how to stop when you stop and say when you go and where you should, because they teach the parents all the time. Today was a perfect example. They had a kindergarten graduation, or moving up, whatever they call it. And one little boy comes running down to the corner, and his grandma starts to walk out, and he hugged, Grandma, get back on the sidewalk. You're not supposed to go until the lady tells you it's okay. Out of the mouth of babes. So, but.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Anyone else?
I know, you do. You never try to film it.
Is there a motion to close the public session?
Second.
All in favor?
Close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We do have a closed session. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. 1, the public shall be excluded from discussion of any action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. 2, the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: contract negotiations / shared services. 3, it is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public when confidentiality is no longer required. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Make a motion to pass the resolution?
Second it.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Ritchie?
Yes. You're welcome to wait outside until the conclusion of the closed session, which time we'll invite everyone back in.
No, nothing will be,
No action.
There'll be no action taken.
no action taken.